What's up, guys? Stacy here from Becoming Financially Fit, and today we're going to be talking about how to build an emergency fund. Before we get into the content, I produce videos that talks about personal finance, financial literacy, savings, and investing. So make sure you hit that subscribe button right now if you're interested in any of those topics. Also, make sure you hit the bell to make sure you're notified anytime I post new content. So for starters, what is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is an amount of money set aside to cover unexpected financial situations. The typical amount of an emergency fund can vary depending on your financial situation, your current debt obligations, and your savings and investments that you currently have on hand. A good rule of thumb is to start with at least $1,000. The next logical step is to save at least 1 month of your typical monthly living expenses. This will provide a good cushion if anything were to arise in the interim. The final goal will be to establish an emergency fund with at least 3 to 6 months of monthly living expenses, and this will depend on your current financial situation, the area that you live in, and if you think that your income will be stable in the future. Although this may seem daunting at first, the hardest part is the first step. Now that you have an emergency fund established, what should the funds be used for? While this may seem simple, most find the answer to this question very ambiguous. Here are some options that the fund should be used for. Expenses incurred after a job loss, unplanned medical expenses, unplanned home repairs, and car repairs outside the normal scope of regular car maintenance. What should the funds not be used for? Your funds shouldn't be used for that new iPhone, a night out with friends, a $5 latte, or that new pair of shoes that you just can't live without. Before we move ahead, I want to know if you guys have an emergency fund. Comment yes or no below if you do have an emergency fund, and tell me the amount of months that you have saved up. If you don't have anything saved right now, let me know what your goal is. So now, where should you keep those funds that you're saving for emergencies? No, a shoebox under your bed isn't the best place to keep your emergency fund, but here are some good alternatives. A high-yield savings account that can be opened online from banks like Goldman Sachs or Ally Bank are great options that offer industry-leading interest rates to grow your money. These savings account options have no fees, and there's no minimum to start. It only takes a few minutes to set these accounts up, and they offer great automated savings options. So, we discussed what an emergency fund is, what the fund should be used for, what the fund shouldn't be used for, and where you should keep your emergency fund in the long run. The goal of an online savings account where you store your emergency fund is to make it harder for you to access these funds on a day-to-day basis. This will encourage smart use of the funds and encourage savings over a longer period of time. When the time arises where you actually need to use some of the funds in your emergency savings, try to systematically replace the funds that were taken out to cover that emergency. Combining your emergency fund with a detailed budget could be the difference between financial freedom and a life of dismay. If you guys have any questions on this topic, or you want me to make a video about another topic, make sure you comment below and let me know what you want to learn about. And hey, don't forget to subscribe so you can become financially fit.